So you just think about this problem, and I will discuss on this problem after the lecture. So this problem is clear, no? There are five bridges. Every bridge can be broken in with probability half. A boat can go from left to right if there are several cases as there. If AB is broken, or CD is broken, or AED is broken, or maybe all are broken, then also. But if only A and E is broken, then is not, it can't pass. So you have to study all the cases, and you have to find what is the probability the boat can pass from left to right. So I go to the main topic now.
Mrinal,
Ah, huh,
you can remove. Now it is fine. Okay. It is fine now.
So let's start. So consider a urn which contain two black and three red balls, and another urn contain three black and two red. So just think.
Minal,
Ah,
রেকর্ডিংটা অন করেছিস তো?
recording is going on.
ওকে ওকে
So one urn contain two black, three red, and another urn contain three black and two red. Consider two urn with just opposite 2, 3, 3, 2. If toss a fair coin to decide the urn, but we do not know which is his. That means we do not know which urn contained. I have the urn, but this urn is just sealed. So I say, if okay, if there is head occurs, then I can I choose the leftmost left one, and if say urn is one is a bigger urn, one is the red, one is the black urn, one is the white color, one is the black color. So if head occur, then we choose the white color. If tail is, we choose the black color. But we don't know whether the black color urn contain two black, three red, or the white color contain two black, three red. So toss a fair coin and choose one urn. Suppose the first ball, and then we choose draw a ball from that urn. Suppose the first ball drawn is black, and we put in back. আমরা সেটাকে আবার just replace করে দিচ্ছি. So what is the probability that the second ball is also black? This is a very simple problem of conditional probability. The first ball drawn is black. What is the probability that second ball is also black? So second ball is black given that the first ball is black. But we don't know what is urn, from which urn we are drawing this. So to find the probabilities, take U1 is the probability of urn choosing urn 1, and probability of U2 is the event which is the choose urn 2. So both are probability halves since it is a fair coin. Now what is probability of U1 given B1? You can calculate, and you can see it's just a Bayes theorem. We know the probability of B1 given U1 and B1 given U2, and from that you can calculate the posterior probability using just Bayes theorem, and just probability of U1 given B1 is 2 by 5, and probability of U2 given B1 is 3 by 5. It is easy to check. Now what is probability of B2 given B1? Again, probability of B2 given B1 you can easily check with conditional probabilities and other thing. That is 13 by 25, but the probability of B2 is just half. You can calculate the probability of B2, the marginal probability B2. It is half, but the conditional is not half. It is just slightly greater than half. What is the meaning? That means if you don't know if the first one is black or not, someone is unmuted, is just mute. There is some noise. So if you don't know whether it is the first one is black or red, then the second probability of second ball is black is just half. It is same as just as urn we take. We don't know which one is, so it is someone is just there is a noise. Guriada, we just mute.
Guriada, noise coming from your app. Please.
Okay,
mute.
okay, I'm muted. So you can easily find the easily find the probability of B2 given B1 is 13 by 25. That means it's slightly higher probability than probability of B2. That means if the first ball is black, that means it's more likely to be coming from the second urn rather than the first one. Okay. Next, so what is the probability of U1, that is the urn, given that both the drawn ball is black? So it is U1 given B1 intersection B2 is, again you can calculate this thing. It is 4 by 13. So it is less likely to from the urn 1, obviously, if both the black ball is coming. And probability of U2 given, you can check all this thing. It is 9 by 13. And again, if you check what is the probability of the third ball is also black, if the given that the first two is black, then it is 35 by 65. It is again greater than 13 by 25, which is probability of B2 given B1. That means if the first ball is black, what is the probability? The probability of second ball is also black. Then if the first two is black, then the third ball is also black, is again higher probability than the previous. In limiting sense, you can easily find this limiting case. The probability of E1 given B1, B2, Bn will be 1 by 1 plus 3 by 2 whole to the power n, and this will tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. What is the meaning? If there are large number of ball, all are black, then this probability is 0, is close to 0. It is just the U1. Probability of R1 is given that all the n ball, n is large, is very close to 0. That means it's coming from the R2 actually. Again, if you calculate, if all the balls are, the n balls are all black, then the next one, n plus 1, is again black, is again you can calculate, it is 3 by 5. And it is same as the probability of B1 given U2. That means it is coming from U2. So if there are n balls, n or all are black and n is large, we can take, okay, this R is actually U2 because the two probabilities are now very close. Now replace 2 R by 2 coin, a coin, just a coin, and we don't know if the coin is, it is biased, but we don't know whether it is 2 by 3 probability or 2 by 5 or 3 by 5, something like 2 R. 2 R just replaced by a coin or maybe by 2 coin, and we are choosing one coin with probability half, and the first coin is, one coin is 2 by 5 probability head occurring and another is 3 by 5. But we don't know which coin is 2 by 5 probability and which coin is 3 by 5 probability. This is the same problem as the previous ARN problem. Now we have the two alternative hypotheses. Both have a prior probability half. So we have a hypothesis one that P equal to 2 by 5 and another hypothesis is P equal to 3 by 5. And both the probability of priority probability is half of them. So there is a Keynes argument on this. So our prior belief is, say our prior belief is P equal to 2 by 5. So our belief is say this, okay, this coin is with probability 2 by 5. But if head occurs 10 times in a row, what will be our conclusion? Our conclusion, we should reject the previous hypothesis as it is we see earlier. Why? Because if it is P equal to 2 by 5, then occurrence of all the heads are 2 by 5 whole to the power 10. But if it is 3 by 5, then it is 3 by 5 whole to the power 10. Now observe, both the probability is very low. Both the probability is very small. But still, the one is much larger than the other. So that's why we take the someone say, okay, well, it's 3 by 4. Okay, we'll discuss later. Both are very small, but one is much larger than the other. So if P is 2 by 5, then it is 2 by 5 to the power is very small. Again, if it's 3 by 5, then also it is 3 by 5 is all to the power 10 is very small. So both are actually small, but we have to choose one of them. So we choose 3 by 5 whole to the power 10. This is more likely. So that's why we choose P equal to 3 by 5. We accept the hypothesis P equal to 2 by 5. So we reject that P equal to 2 by 5. But now this is the Keynes argument. Our formulations are correct for every arbitrary value of P. So if it is 1 by 5 or 4 by 5 or 1 by 6 with 1 by 9, one is higher than the other. But axiom, of course, do not tell us what is the value is. Not even whether it is makes sense to assign any value at all. So it is Keynes argument. So if I have two hypotheses, then we choose one, but we don't know whether this hypothesis makes sense or not. It maybe both of them value is false. Actually, if 10 head occurs in a row or 100 occurs in a row, we should reject both the hypotheses. But as long as we have two hypotheses, we have to choose one. That's the problem with the classical frequency definition. Now, in the other word, mathematics proper being as a deductive science, the problem of evaluating or estimating or testing of a value of P lies outside this eminent domain. So mathematics cannot be solved cannot solve this type of problem, is because it is outside of domain. And of course, it is of the most importance in practice. And statistics was invented to cope with this kind of problem. So statistics, that's why the statistics invented. So where the mathematics is, this problem is actually outside the domain of mathematics, and that's why the philosophy of statistics came. Statistics invent to cope with this problem. This is a Keynes argument. And one more argument I should say, in any branch of this which has application, there is always a gap which needs a bridge between the theory and practice. This is so, for instance, in geometry or in mechanics, and probability is no exception. So probability also, we need a bridge to apply this whole theory, and this argument is given by Albert Einstein. Now in natural extension, if unknown p takes values is finite or infinite range, not only two. If I say I have say 100 many urns and 100 many say coins, or a coin which may have 100 values, p value for this, or if it is a infinite, or maybe it is a continuous from 0 to 1. Now this is Laplace law of succession. Suppose that the sun has risen in n times in succession. What is the probability that it will rise once more? Now, if we assume that a priori probability of the sunrise on any is a constant whose value is unknown to us, owing to our total ignorance, so we don't know what is p, we don't know anything about p. So if we assume that a constant priori probability can take with this equal likelihood, so we will just consider the p can take any value between 0 and 1. So it is a uniform distribution of 0 1. So now p, that unknown constant p, is behaved like a random variable. The setup is something like that. The probability will be random variable theta, which is uniform over 0 1. And if the true value of theta is p, then under this hypothesis, the probability of n successive sunrise is equal to p to the power n, assuming the independence. So we assume that these are all independent, the sunrise independently. So if this probability of this is p, then it is p to the power n for n succession of sunrise n days in a row. So somebody is written this cat. What is this? Oh. Now let Sn denote the event that the sun rise n times in succession. This is Sn. Then heuristically, why it is heuristical, I tell you later. So probability of Sn given theta equal to p is p to the power n. So if it is theta equal to p, then probability of this is p to the power n. It is just a heuristical, it is not a mathematical thing. So probability of Sn, then we can't add this because it's a continuous random variable. So we have to integrate over 0 to 1, and it is uniform. So the PDF is 1. So conditional probability with the PDF is 1, integrate over that. And this is p to the power n, integration of 0 to 1 p to the power n is just 1 by n plus 1. Now, if I take the probability of Sn plus 1, that means it is again rise in n plus 1 day succession, given that is already rise in n day in succession, then it is just probability of Sn plus 1 given Sn, which is probability of the intersection, and divided by the probability of Sn. This is actually Sn intersection Sn plus 1 is just Sn plus 1. So it is just 1 by n plus 2 divided by 1 by n plus 1, which is n plus 1 by n plus 2. So if n day in a row succession the sun rise, then the next day it will rise. It's the probability by Bayesian approach. It is n plus 1 by n plus 2. It is not 1. So some question on that. Number one question, that so probability of theta equal to p is 0 for all p, because it is a uniform, is continuous. So it is theta equal to p is 0 for every p. The conditional probability actually is not defined. The conditional probability is not defined because the conditioning event is probably 0, so we can't define. So that's the problem with this thing. That's why we say it is heuristically. I say it is heuristically this one. This is assumed to be independent. So heuristically, it is probability of Sn given theta equal to p is p to the power n. So it is not mathematical because this is the problem. Conditional probability is not defined. So how do you solve this problem? But intuitively it is okay. then it is completely legitimated by the random Nikodym derivative. If we know the random Nikodym derivative is some sort of major derivative in major sense, then we can see that this is defined in it is in the random Nikodym derivative sense, and then we can calculate and we get the same result as we have. And discrete approach can be made as also as follows. So it is a continuous case. We can think of random Nikodym derivative, but for discrete case, we can think about that. So assume that a prior probability P can takes only value K by N. Just say N equal to 100. So 1 by 100, we can take, there is 2 by 5 and 3 by 5. Now it is say 1 by 10, 1 by 100, 2 by 100, P can take 100 values. Now with probability 1 by N each, it is not, now it is the uniform uniform. Previous one is rectangular, so it is uniform, discrete uniform. And if we find, it is a homework to you, if we find this same probability, conditional probability, now it is no problem, because it is we take this K by N only, not the continuous case. So everything probability is positive. So in that Sn plus 1 given Sn, now everything is positive. So you can define probability of Sn given theta equal to P. And then let n tends to infinity. Not small n, it's capital N. Small n is fixed. For a small fixed n, small n, we tend n capital N tends to infinity. That means now the taking value K by N, 1 by 100, 2 by 100, next time it is 1 by 2000, 2 by 2000. So it is sort of approximate the uniform distribution with rectangular distribution, continuous distribution by a uniform distribution in limiting sense. So we'll get exactly the same result. This is homework to you, to every student. You will find this and you will get exactly the same result. So this is the all about this sunrise problem. And more general one is, this is called actually sequential sampling, because here is the 2 on is there. We draw a ball and we replace that ball. So this is, and again we draw a ball and replace the ball. There are some other problem. We take a ball and don't replace. Again we take a ball, don't replace. So this is called sequential sampling, and this is actually Arn problem. This is called more generally Arn problem. And Arn problem, there are several Arn problems. You can just take a ball, and if it is a black, you replace that black ball as well along with more K balls you put in the Arn. And this is actually the poly-Arn scheme. The poly-Arn problem is this. So you have say B many black balls and R many red balls in an Arn. Something like you have say B many persons are COVID affected and R many is not. And if you sample one of them, and if it is a COVID person, affected person, that means you actually put more probability on the next drop. So because the one person, once you observe one person is COVID affected, you actually put more probability on the next one. So that's why you change your probability and you add more C many balls to the arm. And if it is not affected, is a rare say, then again is a probability of affected is now less, non-affected is now high. So observing a event is actually, then observing that event next is higher now. If some event is occur now, then the same event will occur in the next drop will be higher. So that's why the poly-Arn problem is actually from the medical ground. And this poly-Arn problem, you know this poly-Arn problem, and more general Arn scheme is there. So there, if there are not only the two colors, there are the n many colors, and maybe the problem like that, if it's a black ball, you replace that black balls, you add 10 black balls, as well as you add 2 red balls, 3 yellow balls, 4 white balls, something like that. And this is another story. Some other day I can talk about on this all the Arn scheme. So this is all the talk of this sunrise problem. And now we, at the end, we have that problem of the bridge problem. Can anyone solve this problem? Anyone, any idea? You can just unmute and you can say. Someone told it is 3 by 4. It's not 3 by 4. Because you just think, say this blue at the bridge, okay? So boat can go from left to right if some bridge are broken. Am I audible to everyone? No? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and sir. It is visible, no? This yes, the last slide.
Yes, sir.
Now think
Hello.
Yes,
there
sir.
is a YOLO path like that. Say there is a YOLO bridge now. Now consider if the blue bridge is broken down, the YOLO is there. And if blue is not there, then YOLO is not there. Is the idea clear? So now think a man is passing from this bank of the river to the other bank. Now a man can go through from this lower one to upper one if both cannot go. Is a complementary case, okay? If both can go from left to right, man cannot go from up lower to upper bank. It is clear? If say A and B is broken, the bridge is broken, A and B, then boat can pass through from left to right, but man cannot go. So path of this man is the blue one, and path of the boat is the yellow one. So if we construct some yellow thing, the blue should not be there. And if blue is there, yellow is not there. That means the probability of the event man can go from one bank to another bank is the complementary event with the boat can go from left to right. Now, just from the figure, symmetricity of the figure, you can easily see that both figures are symmetric. So that means the both probability must be same. And that means the probability must be half. So this is the all over this. And you can think if say middle one is C, E is all these not half, say A, B, C, D is half, and E is say P, probability P is not half, then you can also calculate using this type of symmetricity argument, it will be some 9 by 7 by 16 plus P by 8. You can calculate this, but slightly one or two more line we have to add, but you don't need to write all the cases and finding the probability. It is just using symmetry, you can find the probability. So this is all over the talk, and you can ask any question. So Addo, it's complete.
Yeah, I have few questions.
Yeah.
First one, please go to the slide number 2 or 3. Where you generalize the earning problem. That's so
Yeah,
in
this
here.
one.
How you define the black ball and white ball?
Black and
So,
red. B1, B1 is the first one is black. B2 is second one is black. D3 is the third one is black.
When you define
that's the
B1
definition of B1, B2, Bn.
and Bn,
Bn is the nth draw is black.
then in the first turn, how many white ball and how many black ball?
In first turn, there are two.
Initially, in one of the turn, there is 2 black and 3 red, and another turn there is 3 black and 2 red. It's opposite. But yes. when you generalize the case up to n black, then
no, that is not the generalized case of n. The Rn is 2, 3. It is not a generalization of the R2-3 case. This is Rn is 2, 3, 3, 2. It is not a generalization. It is the successive sampling. Red black ball again we put in the Rn again we again one. Rn is fixed.
Okay. Now I can understand. Okay. That is why I'm confusing. Okay. And another one where you define SN, there is sunrise problem. Next page.
Yes, this is SN.
Next one, where you define the probability. Next page. Yes. The last line of the previous page.
Yes.
SN intersection SN n plus 1.
That means SN is sunrise n times intersection. SN plus 1 is sunrise
n successive times, and SN n plus 1 n plus 1 successive times.
So intersection is n plus 1 times. Because it's a subset. SN is a subset of SN plus 1. The other one. SN plus 1 is a subset of SN. If it is n plus 1 succession, it must be n succession.
Okay. In that sense. Okay. It is okay. Okay.
Any other question?
Any other question?
Another thing, Minal, where you go to the previous one.
This one?
Can you explain it? What is, I can't understand what it can be made completely legitimate by
Random Nicotin derivative, because this probability of Sn given theta equal to P is not defined actually in continuous case. But in by random Nicotin derivative in measure theory, we can actually in measure theory we can take the conditional probability when the probability is 0. Actually, the probability is 0, but the conditional probability is defined. Some sort of 0 by 0, but it is defined in other sense actually. Because it is 0 by 0 is some sort of derivative, and that is called random Nicotin derivative.
Yes. Okay.
Derivative is random derivative is a derivative of a measure with respect to another measure actually.
With respect to
because our simple derivative is measured with respect to the measure is the length measure now. dy dx. Dx is the length measure.
Yes.
In our real line, but we can define random Nicotin derivative. Random derivative actually defined is one measure with respect to another measure. So lambda is a measure and mu is another measure, and this should have been some perpendicular, some metric space concept also. If it is a dot product is 0, that means their inner product is 0, orthogonal, then we can define the derivative. Is it d lambda d mu, something like that. Lambda and mu both are both measure. May not be the one, may be area, one may be the volume. One may be the weight, one may be the volume. We can derivative weight with respect to volume, right there. Eventually, it may be finite measure. It may be a finite measure. It may be counting measure. We can derivative area.
There should be sigma finite measure.
Right, sigma finite measure.
Okay.
So this is actually is the hardcore of measure theory. But one discrete approach is better. This k by n thing. This is better.
This is better. Obviously, this is better.
Well, let us thank our speaker.
So thanks.